everyone. Welcome back to Data and Donuts. I'm here today with my friend and colleague, Natalia Alarcón. How are you today?
I'm doing fine. Thank you so much, Aaron, for inviting me. I'm very, very pleased to be here.
Excellent. It's great to see you again. And today we're going to talk a little bit about data, but working at a district level. But before we get into that conversation, I'd like you to tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, well, I have been working on research for many years, more than 2 decades, and I had the fortune to arrive to the United States and came with my bachelor degree. So I started at UCSC, and over there I was able to get an idea of how the educational system was here. So I decided to go towards the institutional research aspect. And eventually I did an MBA, and long story short, and now more than 20 years in the career here in the United States.
That's amazing. And I'd like to hear your story. One day I'll have to meet with you and Antonio. We'll have to talk more about it, but it definitely, and so let's jump right into some of our questions. So when looking at our questions, when working at a different office, what's it like in comparison to working at a college office? Because I know you've worked at both.
Yeah, so I have worked total about 18 years in community colleges. 15 of them were in one college district office. So it was only one college, and then I've been working 3 years in a multi-college district. So it's very different. It's a very, very different world. Both of them very amazing. I obviously have more experience in the one college. In that, you find the opportunity to have more proximity with all the stakeholders. So you can work with board members or report to the president. So sometimes to present to the board members, you are able to work with faculty, even with the students very, very closely. So I work in 3 different community colleges with one college, and I had the opportunity in research to work with different stakeholders, with the public. So that was very enlightening. And also, the thing was, a lot of the offices were not with many people. So a lot of the offices were one person shop or 2-person shop. So the workload was pretty large. It is pretty large. And then also the resources, a little limitation in terms of resources that I will see on those one college district. Now for the multi-college district, it's fascinating because I'm now working on a district that has 4 different institutions, and they all have a research office. So then I get to work with the other researchers. So if I count, it's just a lot of researchers that I in interactions on an everyday basis. And I'm able to report at district level scope. So the scope is different. It's like the whole 9 yards. We see what's happening with each institution. You have opportunity sometimes to see some of the presidents and see how the decisions of research are made. So it's very, very different, but it's very fascinating. And as I say, I just starting in this career in the multi. I started 3 years ago. I'm just beginning, right? Because you need more time to really be able to assess. So far, I like both. I just happen to have more experience in the other, but I'm looking forward. The other thing is in terms of team members, as I said, more because of each institution has research offices, and then the district office has the research office. And I'm fortunate to be working with a team of 6 or 7 different people, analysts and admin tech. So it's very collaborative environment type of stuff. And then on the other hand, resources sometimes are more clear, and then each institution look for grants, and each institution sometimes collaborate and is able to join efforts. So anything that is happening at the state level, we have to see it with the district lenses, what's happening at the district level, and then we are able to see each institution. But the researchers' offices at the institutions take care of everything that is specific to that institution. So it is a different world, but it's very rewarding.
Excellent. Now, that sounds like a fantastic, not just career, but just getting to meet people and work with a variety of people, diverse backgrounds. That's so much fun. So in the research office, at the district, what are some common research requests or reports that you put together?
Yeah. So important to do. So we do everything that it comes, let's say iPads related or AB 1805, anything that the Chancellor Office is requesting, we have to do. So the request, that's one piece. Then there is foundational type of data that we deal with, that we need to maintain, the facts on file, the fact books, how many, like counting, what do we have for each institution, and things of that nature. But then there is the art of research, like the uniting all the analysts with different topics that are relevant, that are connected with what the Chancellor Vision for Success has. So we are working on equity, we are working in LGBTQ studies, we are working on online education, seeing what's happening with that transformation to having majority of the students in online. We are looking at different curriculum type of studies for honors. So it's very, very, very large. We also have what I call the staple type of report. So we do a lot of enrollment type of reports that are required to monitor, to track, to kind of keep an eye on things. But we also want to move to leading indicators to inform in terms of decisions on what's happening with those things before the fact happens. So we do look into awards and transfer, but milestone for the students, but we want to focus also in what's happening with English and math, how many students are really coming and fulfilling those requirements, and so that we can support with different ideas and people get informed. Currently, we're working in a very important study that is related with African American students because of the call to action. So our district was really making sure that we address those topics. So it really varies, and unfortunately, as I said, the office is large enough to keep up with the work because it's definitely a lot. There is a lot of priorities, and we are able to, I am as the director, I'm the director of the office, so I'm able to support so that we can leverage effort and have some fronts so that we all cover different fronts. So I have an expert, let's say in 320, and I have an expert in SCAF and anything with the Student Center Funding Formula and iPads. So I try to make sure that nothing gets disregarded and everything is kind of with a front leader so that we can always have a good grasp of what's going on.
Excellent. And that leads directly into my final question of, with all these competing priorities, how do you prioritize all this work?
That's a very good question, Aaron. I myself have always felt that I am pretty good at prioritizing to maintain. So I keep lists. I have all sort of methods to keep track of things, to do listings in Excel and in my notebooks and in different type of things. But I think that right now that I'm working with 6 different people, my goal is that we all know what the priorities are. So we went back to, let's go to the drawing board, let's see our action plans, let's see what the big priorities. We are trying to connect it with the mission and vision. We are making sure we have some big picture type of goals, and then we develop some sort of objectives per different terms. So this say right now we are focusing on equity. We are also evolving from a static to dynamic reporting, having more dashboards in Tableau and whatnot. So we definitely have a lot of things going on, but I have allocation of different reports per term. So I always look into what do we have for the summer, what's happening for the fall. So I try to grab projects per term and see what we were able to finish, what do we need to roll out, and what things are ongoing. We need to do it every term, we need to do it every year. So right now we are spending 80% of the time trying to have foundational type of stuff that later that's gonna just make us to spend 20% of the time, and then the majority of the time could be on those this research. And I also, of course, prioritize with my vice chancellor. I make sure that we go over projects. Everything is urgent, everything is needed, so I need to make sure that we are able to adapt. Because so I work with my team trying to make sure that we don't get overwhelmed with the fact that today you were working on a report, on a survey, and then all of a sudden something else happened. But hopefully we are able to have a good handle of what's happening in the week, at least. Okay, this week I have this, and we meet every week as a team, so we go over projects, anything pressing, and we, of course, I also meet with every one of my members in a bi-weekly basis to make sure that anything they need, anything that is kind of gonna have to be pushed or any new. And then for things that are extremely, let's say right now, important, I'm trying to make sure we have foundational type of dashboards. So whenever it's needed, we just process it and package it in the way that needs to be delivered, so that we don't have to scratch our heads of, oh, how to get that. But we are still working on having a database, a sustainable type of environment that we can feed the data, because we change ERP systems. So we are going through a transition that has kind of slow our process. But with all that being said, at the end of the day, every day I do like an assessment of, okay, I couldn't finish this. Let's have these priorities for tomorrow. So I start my to-do on the day off. So today I'll do my to-do for the weekend, because I do some work over the weekend. And then on Monday, of course, I already know that I have. So, and I also, my calendar is, you see it all busy, because I plan myself what is happening. So I know I have to work in 1805. So I put it on my calendar, So I try to do that. I have found that very helpful in my life. And I keep it in a way that if something else comes up, I am able to move it around. But a standing meeting, they take time. When I work in the district, I have less meetings that I used to have in the campuses, but still I have to meet with people. So you always have to make sure that you can adapt to the changes.
Oh, most definitely. And I think these are a lot of fantastic things you shared. I think you and I are going to have to do a conference presentation on how to really maintain teams, projects, and the like. You're on point with all of this. So excellent work. And so now it comes to our bonus questions. So my first question is a pronunciation question.
Ooh.
So I hear the word data, data. There's no wrong way to say it. However, how do you say it?
Well, I have to tell you that you might have noticed, I am an ESL person. So I learn English here. And so whatever I say is my boss's fault. So you know who I have worked with, they know. So I learned data. That's the way I have said it, because I heard it that way. And then let's say I say database. So people say database. So and then I start to change it according to who I am talking in that moment, just so that they don't feel like.
Me too.
I try to follow the lead, and it's a very interesting question. I spoke with someone about it, and they were doing investigation on what's the correct way, and they were giving me a lecture. But I think ultimately it's important to know that we are all colleagues and we all like joke around, but blame my bosses.
Excellent. That's funny. And so my second question is, what's your favorite type of donut?
Yes, Aaron. So I have to show you. I brought it.
Excellent.
And actually, I couldn't bring it because it's in Colombia. So in Colombia, we have this donut. It's like the regular type of donut that you find, right, with the powdered sugar on top. But in Colombia, they put dulce de leche inside.
Oh, wow, really?
I don't know. It's like the Milky Way type of caramel, type of sweet kind of. So it's delicious. This one is with lemon, so I'm disappointed because I know I can. I actually want to learn to make donuts. My husband is very good in baking, so I want him to learn so that we can put the filling that I like, because my mother taught me how to do dulce de leche.
Awesome.
The other thing, Aaron, is you have to have in Colombia your donut with milk.
Okay.
Donut without milk and cold milk. It's kind of weird, but it's a very good combo. If you haven't, please try it.
I will try it.
I can give you a donut right now, but I'll send you some.
Excellent.
I love this. I love that you're putting sugar into our world of data, because a lot of people find it kind of draining, and I always find it fascinating. So now we have donuts on top of the world, so it's pretty cool.
There we go. Definitely. No, thank you. And thank you so much for sharing today. I had such a good time. I'm going to think of some new things for us to talk about next time. So thanks again for joining us. And thank you everybody for watching. Please hit the subscribe button, and I will talk to you later.
Thank you so much, Aaron. Have a good one. Bye-bye.